Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Nuance Needed podcast bonus episode. I'm Amanda.
Sam.
And Sam has just gotten back from visiting the motherland,
Yeah.
Utah,
Salt Lake City.
since she's moved. And she and I were about to talk about it privately, and we just figured we would make this a bonus episode. So
Yeah.
how was it?
It was really good. It was really lovely to see everyone. But I was like really excited to get back on a plane and leave.
Yeah.
Which
Was
I think
that surprising to you?
not so much as surprising as like a confirmation.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I've known, because it's been on the 29th, it'll be 6 months since I like got in the car and drove away.
Yeah.
And like over the last 6 months, there's been like a million little moments where I'm like, no, I'm really happy with my decision. Like I feel really confident with it. But then that was the first time I was like back. And the wild thing about Utah is when you fly in from the East Coast, you more often than not end up going over Denver, which is like a little bit south of Salt Lake City. And so when you fly in, when you start your initial descent, you come over this town called Spanish Fork, and you literally just like follow the valley like straight north. And I know, like, while you're looking out the window, like, I know where everything is. Like, I can identify all the landmarks. I can see the places that I've lived. I can see, like, where I've worked. I know where everything's located, because it's a giant grid as well. So it's like, if you're following up the grid, you know where everything is.
Yep.
And so when I was, like, flying back in, and we kind of, like, come over Spanish Fork Canyon, and you start, like, correcting yourself and going north, I was looking out, and because I'm like a bizarrely emotional, passionate person, I was like almost angry. There was like a lot of like, not a lot, but there was like a few unresolved like thoughts and memories that like came to my mind of stuff. And I was just like, ugh. And it was this sense of like relief that I wasn't there all the time.
Yeah.
Anymore. Like that I was gone, that I was like in a new chapter of my life, and that a lot of that was behind me. And I was so excited to see everybody that I saw and spend time with people. And I was on the Girls Camp podcast, which was wonderful.
Amazing.
And loved that. Spent time with my cousin and my family and my friends. And I saw my cousin's dog, Shmoosh. His name is Max, but I call him Shmoosh. Saw like people that I worked at the hospital with, who I'm still really good friends with. And so like all that was lovely. But then while I was there, it was insanely familiar. I mean, you live anywhere for 15 years. It's the same way when you go back to Philly, right? Yep. Like you could navigate Philly with your eyes closed. Like, you know where everything
maybe
is.
Not, but
close enough. Go with me.
Terrible at navigation.
But regardless, like, you know the neighborhoods, you know where things are, like whatever. It felt really familiar to me, but it didn't feel like home. And I didn't have any thought of like, oh, like, I wish I was staying, or I wish I had stayed longer. Like I was sad to say goodbye to people, because I miss them, and I miss spending time with them as much as I used to, but I was like ready to get back to my life.
Yeah.
And I think for anybody who's like ever made like a big change or a big decision, I would totally advocate for at some point like going back from where you left, or going somewhere that like carries memories of whatever the change was or what it represents, because I think it allows you such a different perspective of like how much you've grown, even if it's just been like a short amount of time. How much change and like newness there is in your life when you commit to a decision like that. So I don't know. I know I tend to make things like more meaningful than the average bear, but like,
have you read Susan Cain's book called Bittersweet?
No, I'm gonna look it up right now.
It is like all about how some of us are more prone to like being nostalgic than other people. And there's like actually a quiz that you can take. And I'm very prone to nostalgia.
Oh, me too.
But yeah, it like helped me understand things in that way. Cause yeah, I am like very nostalgic all the time, even for like periods of my life that I actually didn't like and wouldn't want to relive.
Yeah. Well, that's sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Go.
Because that like in like the month, probably like the 2 months before I left, 2.5-ish months, because I lived completely on my own at that point. Because my cousin had bought her house, and she moved into her house, and I was just in my townhome, like waiting to leave.
Yeah.
And I was like really like emotional, and I was just like letting it happen, and I was letting myself experience it.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was like sitting and kind of like letting it come to the surface, and I was like, what, like you want this though, like why are you so emotional? And I think I realized I'm like an absolute freaking sap for the past, which I hate. And not everybody is like that. I think there's a lot of people that are just like, why is this a big deal? And I'm like, because it is. I don't know.
No, I'm definitely like that too. I don't know. Maybe we've never talked about this much before, but like I also just like have a fear of death, and also I'm just like I get very wrapped up into like the human experience and like life is going forward and what does it mean? These are the things that I want to talk to people about that not many people, I know you do, not many people want to talk about, where I'm just like always thinking about meaning of life stuff.
Should we do an episode on like what causes us existential dread?
Sure. Do you know what causes existential dread? Do you have a hypothesis?
No. Like I think what brings it up in us. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you were like, should we educate people? Should we
tell people what
existential dread? I was like, I would love to know
why they sometimes want to take a long walk off a short pier. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it is just so interesting how different like we all are. Did you ever watch the TV show Station 11?
No, but I know of it. It was the spinoff of Grey's, wasn't it?
No. Station 11 was this like incredible short series based on a book that came out during COVID that was about a pandemic. That was written before the pandemic. That was about like what happens if like 95% of like humanity
just like
dies from this pandemic. It was very intense, but it is the most beautiful TV. Like it is about like joy and humanity and how we are even human even after like horrible things happen. And I am constantly searching for more shows like that, because when I like watch stuff like that, I'm like, this is what it is to be human. Like humans, there is a innate humanness in us. Because the whole premise is it's like after that, and she is in a traveling band of like artists that put on Shakespeare plays around like the country, which is
after like everybody's died.
Yes. And it's like the most, everything is like overgrown and there's very little of society left, but it is just like so beautiful and powerful. And it's a hard watch, but it's like it's one of those like life-changing pieces of art that you kind of consume. And I'm very into, I don't even, growing up, my dad was like super into like motivational, inspiring movies. He would always have us watch like, Remember the Titans. And, like,
I love
a lot of times it was like the sports, movies too, but very into inspirational movies. So
see, my parents like were the exact polar opposite. Like my dad was like positive to the point of toxic, and he's worked on that. But I like, how old was I when this happened? My dad took me to DC when I was like 14, I think, and went to the Holocaust Museum, which I was already weird by that point. And I really, really, really wanted to go. And this really, like, how I lived my life as a child and a teenager really should have been an indicator of like what my skill set was, because I found like I could tolerate so much emotion from a very young age.
Yeah.
And I think someone could debate if that was all just like me allowing traumatic events to happen, but whatever. I had like, things did not overwhelm me the way like it overwhelmed some of my friends, and my interests in like depth that I wanted to go into and all of that. Like not a lot of people wanted to go into that. And so, yeah, like when we go to DC and I'm like, I really want to go to the Holocaust Museum. My dad's like, okay. So we go, and they had a special exhibit going about like the medical experiments that they conducted on people in the camps and in the ghettos and things like that. And my dad couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He's like, no, like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, all right. And I went in by myself as a kid.
Yeah.
And reading all the posters. And I came out on the other side and I was like, wow, that was like really interesting. And did you know they do this? And I'm like secondhand like traumatizing my dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't even remember why like I brought up that story, but because of your Station 11. Like I think you and I like you just come wired with like certain interests and thoughts, I think. And if you want to talk about like the universe and meaning and life purpose or whatever, and I think some of us have to do that. Like, you know, people would ask me all the time in the hospital, like, how do you do your job? And one, I didn't just like get plucked off the street to do it. Like I had training, I had job experience before that. But also like I did have the capacity to do it. Like as bitter as I was about it, I had the capacity to do it. And I think a lot of people shy away from those types of emotions because it's too big. It brings up too much.
Yeah, I think my only like barrier where I get stuck is thinking about like the universe and like forever and like aliens and stuff. Like that's too big to the point where like I feel like my brain is going to combust. Like it is, I can't. But like life and human beings and I just like, that's why I hate small talk, because I'm just like, I want to ask people what keeps you up at night and like what you're worried about and about your fears, and because that's what I want to talk about. And it's like extremely boring to talk about a lot of things. And I just feel like I love the depth so much.
Did you see they think they found a habitable planet?
Oh my God, no, don't talk to me about this. Is this real? Are you joking?
No. It's like
in another universe. I thought we already know all of our planets.
No. No. So it's 120 light years away.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. That's too. I can't.
So
what
so
is
100.
year?
So I had to Google it. So 120 light years in years. So it would take us. Hold on, let me.
I know, but taking you places doesn't make any sense to me because I don't understand that. I know time and space.
So the light year is how they calculate time. So if we were to travel, if we got in a spaceship and we said, okay, we're going to travel 120 light years, it would take 1,300 Earth years to go that far.
I know, but I don't understand how we can't do what's bigger than a mile. I don't know why we have to measure it in terms of time. That's where this is why my brain breaks. Okay, what is that guy that died? His name is like Stephen
Hawking?
Yes.
The guy that spoke through the computer?
Yes. Like,
no.
Like, I can't, like, he's, lots of people love him and stuff like that. But like that stuff just, I literally feel like my body is decomposing when we talk about this stuff. Like, I am interested in it.
Yeah.
My
it's like too much.
My brain cells are not.
Well, okay. You know Neil deGrasse Tyson? Yeah.
No, who's that?
So he is a astrophysicist.
Okay. Yeah, space.
He's a really interesting guy. And he goes on a bunch of different podcasts. And I think he has a podcast himself, I think. Brilliant guy. But he was on this podcast where they were talking about, so here's the other thing. Don't ask me to explain this any further, but I understand it to a point that I can explain it. Okay. Just leave that at that.
Okay.
So when you are looking up another planet, let's say you're in a telescope and you're looking at a planet out in the distance. Let's say you're looking at Saturn. You're not looking at Saturn present day.
Oh, I know. I hate this.
You're looking at it based on like the amount of light years it would take to get there.
I know, that's so
like that
doesn't compute in my brain.
Right. So that planet that's 120 light years away, when we look at it, we're looking at it from like 1300 years ago, what it was. So there's people from other galaxies that if they looked at Earth from a certain distance, they would see reflected back to them like the dinosaurs. Don't ask me.
I know.
How
do we know this?
Math. I don't fucking know. So anyway, so they were saying,
how do we know for sure that there's life on other planets?
How do we know this is not all a fucking joke and it's just a giant simulation Truman Show? But anyway, so with that in mind, they were saying that, so if you and I were standing like right next to each other, if you were here in the office standing right next to me, and we looked up at the same planet, we would be seeing different periods of time.
At the same time?
At the same time, because the math is like just off. Oh like there's just enough distance between how we're standing, the rotation, the travel of light, like all of it. I had to rewatch the TikTok like 15 times to make sure that I understood what they were saying.
So and what is the point? What are we supposed to do with
They were just saying that that's something that like
what is their goal?
Like physicists and astrophysicists are like studying right now. And they were like overwhelmed by it. And I was like, well, if you're overwhelmed,
No, I feel like Stephen Hawking used to like, I've watched videos where he's like, AI is going to take over the world. Humans will be meaningless. And that's where my extremely, oh my God, I can't think of the word. My brain is broken. Catastrophizing tendencies are not good because I'm just like, well, no point. Surrender. I will just lay down.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's okay, Sam. You will fight.
Gabby did DM me. And she was like, I think I posted something about, or maybe was it you that said something like Sam would fight, I wouldn't.
Oh, yes. I did post that. And yes, Gabby is very like me too, where she's like, I will surrender.
But then I was like, I do draw the line at zombies.
Okay.
If there was, I would just.
Did you watch The Last of Us?
I know what happens. I watched the first season.
Okay.
Now that I know he died so soon, I'm not interested.
Okay. Well, thanks for spoiling it for me. No, I wasn't going to watch it anyway. Mike is watching it. I have no interest in zombies or any of that stuff. Again, I am watching right now, which like is a weird show to watch when your mom has cancer, but I'm watching the show Dying for Sex.
Oh, what's that?
You would probably really like it. It's like beautiful and deep and grief. And it's about a woman who is dying of cancer. Her cancer comes back and it's like incurable. And she decides to divorce her husband because she wants to have sex before she dies.
Has she not?
No, her husband's just like, because she's gone through cancer with him for so long, like their sex life has just like
died,
atrophied. Ooh. And he's like not interested in working on it because he's so like, you're a patient now, or your cancer's back, we really have to work on it. And she's just like, screw you, I want to go like explore and I want to have sex with a lot of different people.
Oh wow.
But it's actually like really beautiful and moving and like gets at the core of existential questions. I guess this is what I'm interested in, existentialism as a concept.
Does space feel existential to you, or does it feel like almost too existential?
It feels like it just doesn't compute in my brain. So, like I remember when I was doing research for my book, I was reading a book about how consciousness is created.
Oh God.
Like evolutionarily how we became conscious. And that was fascinating, but that was too when you're trying to think about consciousness with your consciousness. It was a little too much for me. So I think of space as like a natural progression of that.
That makes a lot of sense. I can't. Did you see they're doing like this study on like deep space? Did I talk to you about this?
No.
So the James Webb Telescope that they sent up, I think it's like a couple years ago now.
Yeah.
Part of its mission is this like exploring the deep space field because they're trying to.
I just feel like we should pool our resources. Like, not to be an asshole.
No, I agree.
I know that some people are doing really good work, and like, you know, the Blue Origin, you know, there were 2 really great
astronauts on there.
Women astronauts. I have a lot of thoughts about Katy Perry.
They should have been the only people. 2.
Yes, I agree.
On that space shuttle.
But
yeah, Gail didn't need to go. Lauren didn't
need to go. In general, we should try to work on saving Earth before doing that, is my belief.
I would agree.
Like, this is such a probably ignorant take, but like, what has space travel really done?
We know more about space than the ocean.
Yeah, that seems like not a good use of resources. Like, we live near the ocean. The ocean is on the Earth. Shouldn't we like be studying the ocean to try to preserve it and try to get the coral back like that's dying off?
Do you have you heard of Point Nemo?
No, what is that?
So it's in the Pacific Ocean, and it's the point on Earth that is farthest from any landmass.
Okay.
And it's just in the middle of the ocean.
See, and we can talk about that in terms of like billions of miles or millions of miles, not light years. That's why I'm more interested in that conversation.
How far is Point Nemo from land? So Point Nemo is 1,450 miles, nautical miles from the nearest land masses.
All right. Like the Bermuda Triangle, what happened to that? Should we do more research on that? I remember being very scared by that as a child. Is that still around? Do we need to worry?
When I was a kid, we went on vacation to the Caribbean a couple times, and I was very worried about that. My dad's like, we're not going to Bermuda. And I was like, I don't understand what that means, because I've just been told there's a triangle where planes disappear and we're going on a plane and we're going to an island. So make it make sense. But yeah, I don't know. Big questions. But I very much agree with you. I think NASA, I really respect.
Mm-hmm. I think we needed to go to the moon. I think that was important.
We need to go see that.
I think
I
don't know.
I have no patience for Musk and Bezos. I have no patience for that. That is purely ego driven. That has nothing to do with need or purpose or.
Yeah, I'm sure someone could argue.
Yeah,
like Musk's is better than Bezos is for sure. Bezos is like the equivalent of the submarine. It's just like
it's just for fun.
A 10-minute flight. Are you kidding? Who cares? But anyway, what TV shows are you watching, or what are your favorite existential TV shows or movies?
What am I watching? Oh, well, I watched The Pit.
Yeah, I don't think I can watch that right
existential because it's re-traumatizing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But cathartic at the same time.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt about Station 11 because it came out after the pandemic, so it allowed me to process the pandemic a bit.
Yeah. What else did I just watch? Shogun.
How was that?
Really good. I don't think you would like it at all.
Okay, cool.
I loved it. I thought it was great. No, I've had to kind of stay away from the dystopian stuff because I find that sends me over the edge. Which is why I decided I'm not going to watch The Last of Us. I'm not watching Handmaid's Tale. I will get caught up on those things when we are in a different time.
Is The Handmaid's Tale out?
Yeah,
the last season just
the
came out.
last season, yeah, or it's like coming out. I don't know if it's out right now, but I can't.
I don't know if I'm gonna. No. I mean, I'm so into it that I think I wouldn't start The Handmaid's Tale right now at all. But I think I'm like in the world enough that I can do it. But we'll see. Did you watch Severance?
No.
Oh my God, Sam. You have to watch Severance.
I know.
It's so good. And it's like a different world, but it's not a dystopian world. I mean, it is kind of dystopian, but it doesn't. Yeah. Again, it feels so separate.
It's not like end of world stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It just feels like a different world that we would never live in, sort of.
I've been rewatching New Girl.
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek.
Yep.
Debating a Parks and Rec.
Yep.
That's kind of like where I have to live right now.
But I get it. That's what we call mind shutoffs in my household.
Yep.
Mind shutoffs. Okay, cool. Well, let us know, guys, what your favorite existential
what you're watching
movies are, what you think of space.
Yeah, please let us know.
What you think of the Bermuda Triangle, what you think of the ocean and Nemo Point, all of these very important conversations.
Very important topics.
That we are experts in.
Yeah, that we know everything about. So you came to the right place.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.